middle of the 19th century, London saw the climax of the Industrial Revolution.
We started wrong.
In the middle of the 19th century, London saw the climax of the Industrial Revolution.
This was Western civilization's first big step toward television and Diet Cola, and was therefore good.
Unfortunately, it required lots of smokestacks and sweatshops, and therefore was also bad.
Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol.
Rewritten by Greg Nagan, copyright 2000.
A spoof!
In which Mr. Dickens' most famous stories get hopelessly mixed up with the Christmas Carol.
You will see A Tale of Two Cities instead of Christmas Past.
It is a far, far better thing that I do.
Oliver sneaks in where Christmas Present belongs.
Please, sir, I'd like some more.
And Great Expectations replaces Christmas Future.
Stella? Stella? And now the first
unsuccessful attempt to reform Scrooge. Charles Dickens was born in 1812. His father was imprisoned for debt when Charles was only 12, and he was sent to work in a warehouse.
It was there that little Dickens developed his hypothesis that childhood was a bad thing.
He was so angry he began writing humorous newspaper sketches, and these established his popularity.
Eventually, he began writing novels, many of which dealt with all the bad things he had identified, such as soot.
Oh, soot.
He wrote an awful lot of novels. Finally, he died.
It was the best of the times. It was the worst of the times. It was the special year-end edition of The Times, and it contained no mention of Marley's death, for he had been as dead as a doornail for many years. Mind, I don't mean to say that I know, of my own knowledge, what there is particularly dead about a doornail.
What?
But certainly Marley was as dead as one.
One Christmas Eve, old Scrooge sat in his counting house, admiring each shiny coin as he took it from a great glowing pot before him and dropped into his pretty pink piggy bank beside him.
Through his office door, he could see his clerk entering upon the third stage of hypothermia. The clerk cast an imploring look at Scrooge. What's that?
Big pardon?
An imploring look. What was that?
Not imploring, sir. Never imploring.
Oh, very well.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I was imploring. If you see, sir, it's chafing again.
There are men enough in London who'd be happy to work on a shorter lease than that.
It isn't the length, sir. I don't object to the length. It's a very liberal lease, sir.
At that moment, the door to Scrooge's shop swung open and a handsome young gentleman stepped in.
Merry Christmas, Uncle.
Off with his head!
Uncle, I've only come by as I do every Christmas Eve to beg you, for my dear departed mother's sake, that you might join my family for Christmas dinner tomorrow. Very well, then.
Oh, Cratchit!
Much later that evening, old Scrooge sat in his chair by his fireplace in his bedroom, supping at his school, when suddenly the fire roared up and the bed curtains fluttered violently. Ebenezer! Ebenezer Scrooge! These chains I wear in death are born alive!
Well, they're good chains.
Ebenezer!
Yes?
Ebenezer!
What?
Just like they don't believe. I am Jacob Marley.
What?
I am Jacob Marley. Because I failed in life to do any good by my fellow man, and had indeed done nothing more generous for the human race than to leave it. I am cursed forever to roam the earth and drag my chains, etc. And you, Scrooge, being a man of the similar stripe, are destined to a similar fate. There is one hope for you, one chance, and it is in my power to give it to you.
Tell me, Jacob, whatever it may be, tell me.
3 spirits will visit you!
Never mind.
Then you'll be cursed like me!
Very well, 3 spirits, what then?
And then we shall see! And then we shall see!
He woke up some some time later to find his bed curtains were being drawn open by a ghostly hand. The ghostly hand was connected to a ghostly wrist, which was affixed to a ghostly arm, and so on and so forth, none of it surprising insofar as Scrooge was being visited by a ghost. And no ordinary ghost, but a ghost above whom glowed an otherworldly flame, a searing jet of white-hot light. Your head's on fire!
Ah! The light you see is the light of human charity.
A pretty enough distinction. I can assure you that such allegorical niceties would be of little comfort to me if my own skull were to burst into flames. But I see that you're a spirit, and are perhaps accustomed to such things. Are you then the spirit whose coming was foretold to me?
That is for me to know, and you to find out. Come, take my hand.
Suddenly, they were standing beside a long and wretched-looking queue of men and women in leg irons, guarded by soldiers on either side. A soldier took the first man in the queue and led him up a flight of stairs onto a wooden platform, and laid his head down on a block, above which hung a mighty blade.
It is a far, far better thing that I do than I've ever done. It is a far, far better rest.
Alas, this interesting monologue was cut off by the swift and sudden drop of the blade, after which the gentleman did not look likely to resume his reflections. An old woman sitting nearby nodded and cackled hideously, without looking up from her knitting. Human charity? But he woke up yet one more time to find rich bright light flooding through the gaps in his bed curtains. He pulled them open to find his entire room transformed. It was laid out like a king's feast, the floor piled high with turkeys,
Geese,
game,
suckling pigs,
succulent partridges,
fresh poultice,
sautéed chevalier,
delicate faux pas,
luscious pears,
seething bowls of pie.
and above it all there presided a merry giant, a great broad man in a rich green robe with white trim, who held a torch aloft and beamed down at Scrooge. Are you the ghost of Christmas present?
Well, I sure ain't the Easter Bunny.
Well, I'm grateful for your visit, sir, insofar as my old partner Marley, or rather, his ghost, has given me to understand that these visits, yours and your fellow spirits...
Touch my robe.
Suddenly, they were standing in a long, dank hall full of young boys, all unwashed and wretchedly dressed. They were seated at a series of long wooden tables running parallel from one end of this great stone hall to the other, eating morosely from small wooden bowls. Suddenly, one young boy rose from his bench and walked toward a big fat fellow who stood at the head of the room, guarding what appeared to be a cauldron.
Please, sir, I'd like some more.
Oh, certainly, have all you like.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. But
Oops.
he woke up yet one more time to find a spectral visitor in his bedroom. It was a dark and forbidding creature that stood there, draped entirely in a black cloak that swallowed him up in shadow and concealed his every feature. Are you the ghost of Christmas future? You realize it's been one mistake after another so far. I suppose you've got to go through with it anyways? Not very organized up there, are you?
At once they stood in a large and musty room with all its windows sealed. A few tallow candles flickered uncertainly. Its only occupant, a ghastly old woman in a dreary yellow dress. On closer examination appeared to be an old wedding dress, faded and jaundiced by the years.
Come in!
Good afternoon, Miss Havisham.
Good afternoon!
You have misled me. You've let me believe that it was you who my secret benefactor. You've taken advantage of my credulity.
The dickens with your credulity! Don't you want to see Estella?
Yes.
She's back from Europe and more beautiful than ever.
Yes.
Call her!
Right.
Call her!
Right, okay. Estella? Estella?
Pip?
Estella! No more spirits troubled him that night. The first gray light of the breaking day streamed into his room. Scrooge hurried to the window and threw it open. A rush of cold air swept over him. It felt marvelous, rejuvenating. He beheld a young boy pulling a sled along the street beneath the window.
Boy! boy! What day is it?
Why, it's Christmas Day, sir!
Christmas Day. It's true, it's Christmas Day. The spirits did it all in one night. I haven't lost a single day. The office can open at its usual hour. Where is that paperweight? Stand still, boy.
No more. The spirits returned the following Christmas Eve, having had ample opportunity to practice. They performed the ghostly duties without misadventure.
As a result of their intervention, Scrooge became good and kind-hearted, and a boon to whimpering little puppies everywhere. Oh.